hear me. Do not ever yield to the temptation to dress in a way so as to draw sensual attention to yourselves. Never, never do that. Never be a stumbling block to your brother or to your sister. Never dress in such a way. I'm talking about your public dress. Never dress in such a way so as to draw sensual attention to yourself. Never dress in such a way so as to be an object of lust. And I want you to see something, young ladies in particular, please hear me. Look in the 6th chapter of Proverbs, chapter 6. You go home, you get on your knees, you read through all of 5 and 6 and 7 in the book of Proverbs and ask God to everlastingly burn it in your hearts and minds. Verse 20, my son, keep your father's commands and do not forsake your mother's teaching. Bind them upon your heart forever, fasten them around your neck. When you walk, they will guide you. When you sleep, they'll watch over you. When you awake, they will speak to you. For these commands are a lamp, this teaching is a light, and the corrections of discipline are the way to life, keeping you from the immoral woman, from the smooth tongue of the wayward wife. Do not lust in your beauty after her, in your heart after her beauty. Do not lust in your heart after her beauty, or let her captivate you with her eyes. For the prostitute reduces you to a loaf of bread, and the adulteress preys upon your very life. Can a man scoop fire into his lap without his clothes being burned? Can a man walk on hot coals without his feet being scorched? So is he who sleeps with another man's wife. No one who touches her will go unpunished. Now I know temptation can go both ways. I know women can be tempted with the eyes, and men can be tempted to display themselves in certain ways. But for the most part, and in our culture, and the images that we have in front of us, constant, alluring, sinful, sensual images of women disrobed in every different level, calling, appealing to the eyes of men, appealing to the lusts of men. We used to tell our daughters as they were growing up, they're 22 and 21 now, we used to tell them, young men that are not right with God, they're just like dogs going after some other dog in heat. They're just driven by these hormones and unclean. Assume that they're unclean in their thinking towards you. You say that's extreme. It's more right than it's wrong. And I'd rather be too extreme and warn there's a pit there, there's a pit there, there's a pit there, and there are only 2 pits instead of 3 pits than say everything's okay and watch them perish. Young ladies, hear me. There is tremendous pressure on you to look a certain way, to dress a certain way, to behave a certain way, to have this certain kind of perfect shape and perfect body. And I urge you, young men as well, older men, older women as well, of all ages, but young ladies in particular, hear me. Do not ever yield to the temptation to dress in a way so as to draw sensual attention to yourselves. Never, never do that. Never be a stumbling block to your brother or to your sister. say, are you telling us, brother, that we ought to dress like the Islamic women and cover ourselves from head to toe? I'll tell you, if I had to choose between that and contemporary American dress, I'd choose that. Is there a happy medium? Sure there is. But if you're going to go to an extreme of modesty, not immodesty. Trust me, you're not going to stand before God and God's going to say to you, why were you so modest? Why did you go to such an extreme with this purity stuff? God's not going to say to me on that day, Mike, why were you so strict? I don't mean laying trips on other people. I don't mean putting you into some legalistic bondage. And let me tell you, you can cover yourself from head to toe in burlap sacks, and that won't save you, and that won't make you right with God, and that won't bring you forgiveness of sins. That's a gift by the grace and mercy and goodness of God. And we receive it as a gift. As I was writing my book on revolution that I wrote at the beginning of this year, one of the chapters is an uncompromising holiness. That's the theme of the chapter, the standard of the revolution. And I was sending some of the chapters as I was writing them to dear friends here in the worship team, Benny and Hazel. And I talked about dress in that and conduct. And Benny just sent me a note, a principle that they've taught their family. 2 things about dress, clothes. The clothes that we wear should draw attention to the face. And the purpose of dress is what we're trying to cover up, not what we're trying to reveal. I like that. Come on, my brother. Is it just that you ran out of money to get new shirts once you started lifting weights? Is it just in case somebody's car is stuck and they need a push that you want to let them know that you're ready to help and you've got, come on. Young lady, you lost some weight. Do you have to show everybody? Does it have to be the, look at me, look, I can get into this tight thing. If you're conscious as you're dancing and celebrating before the Lord and you're drawing attention to yourself and you're doing it in such a way, thinking of, look at how I look. Look at what I'm showing off. See how I look in this new outfit? See my legs? See the way it flatters my body? See this, see that? You are working with the devil, my friend. You are a co-worker of hell. And you may just get your heart's desire. Some animal guy may just get you on the way home. He may find in you just what he wants, but he may not want you to tell anybody about it either. Let's rise higher. Let's be holy people. Let's be people of modesty and godliness. Let me say it again. Never dress in such a way. I'm talking about your public dress. Never dress in such a way so as to draw sensual attention to yourself. Never dress in such a way so as to be an object of lust. You say, man, I can watch people take their clothes off on TV. I mean, Steve Hill preaches about that. What's he so fanatical about? That doesn't bother me. Friend, it doesn't bother you because your heart is hard. What's your problem, man? You don't go to the beach with all these bikini-clad people walking around. What's your problem? My problem is I love Jesus. My problem is that stuff is unclean and defiling and brings lustful, suggestive thoughts into your mind. And if it doesn't bring them into your mind, it's not because you're so holy, but because you're so hard. This may be a little extreme statement, but friends, this is life and death. And I'm doing my best to speak in such a way that whatever I'm saying, as radical and extreme as it is not using certain words and terms that are going to send kids scurrying to ask what I'm talking about. But you know, there are people that actually hang out in nudist colonies. And they're not turned on being around that. Is that because they're really holy people? Is it because their standards are so high? No, it's because they get used to it. We've gotten so used to the smut. We've gotten so used to the junk. We've gotten so used to the low standards.